Welcome to MIPCube and this session, which is called Expand the Content Experience. My name's Jesse Cleverly, I'm moderating today. And we have a brilliant lineup of panelists, and I'm extremely looking forward to talking to them and hearing what they have to say. Next to me is Adam G, who's the Multiplatform Commissioning Editor at Channel 4 in the UK. Next is Kim Moses, who's the principal at Sander Moses Productions. And down at the end is Scott Nocas, who's head of distribution and marketing at Vuguru in the USA. And the way we're going to do this is the guys are going to each give a short presentation of about 5 minutes each, and then we're going to have a very short, too short conversation. Each of these panels could probably be a day, to be honest with you. And obviously the focus of today's session is really thinking about, you know, how the presence of the audience in the conversation changes the relationship of producers and the content itself. So we're going to start with Scott, who is going to tell us about how they do things at Vuguru.
Well, thank you everyone for joining today. It's great to be here. We got in late last night, so forgive me if I'm mildly delirious from lack of sleep. So Vuguru was founded to take advantage of exactly what is happening in media now. In 2006, Michael Eisner, our chairman, had left Disney, and his vision was that the future of entertainment was going to actually look on the internet, was actually going to look a lot like what was happening with cable. So if you remember, pay TV, cable in the US, internationally, started as a better connection so you could watch TV. And what it did is it migrated slowly where all the channels suddenly had every movie and television show ever made. So whether you were in France, you were in Germany, UK, US, you could watch Magnum PI, you could watch any major movie that was out there. And now everything is defined by the original content they have. So whether that's The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, any of these premium scripted shows, that defines the value and the reason someone actually turns into cable. Well, we saw his vision was that the exact same thing was going to happen on the internet. It started where you got email and stock quotes. Then you had things like in the US, Netflix or Love Film in the UK, where you can actually get any movie or television show that was ever made. But now original video is starting to define what these platforms are, whether that's Google and YouTube investing hundreds of millions of dollars in originals, or whether like in the US, AOL, Hulu, Yahoo, these other platforms are investing. So our vision was that Vuguru would focus on premium scripted content that was designed from the ground up to play in a multi-platform world for maximum utility, whether you're watching it on your mobile phone, your television, in a theater, on a disc. It doesn't matter to us. It was about telling a great story and giving distributors that opportunity to do it. So I'll talk a little bit about what that means, but I thought I'd show you a little bit of the shows that we've done, some of the quality that we try to approach, and then I can chat about how we develop and think about it from a distribution perspective.
I could use a puppet like you.
I need to know one thing. How can I know you're not the devil?
Okay. Here we go.
We need to know if you're with us or against us.
What is this, some kind of weird interrogation?
Raising kids is a real job.
Then where's your paycheck?
This is where you tell me what to do, right? So I can get what I want?
No, this is the part where I ask questions and you answer.
Max! Max!
Are we not living the dream right now?
Stepped into the wrong cab.
Yeah, you sure did.
Love the peace symbol. It's so hip chic.
The cards are about owning a piece of our heroes and making fun of guys with bad hair.
Freeze, police!
You gotta come home.
So what's unique is if you look at how we approach content, we really think about it as high-end, quality, premium scripted. But the one fundamental difference is it's designed from the ground up in development to work in multiple formats. So think of them like Legos. It works in short chapters, say 15 chapters of 5 minutes each, television half hours, so 4 to 5 television half hours, and then they can click together into a feature film. So you end up with 90 to 100 minutes of content. But whether you're a distributor or we're self-distributing, in the case of our YouTube channel, then we have the chance to talk with consumers in different ways and make sure that we are letting them experience the content they want to. So we're very lucky. You know, we have 25 titles in our library. We have international deals with Fremantle Media, Content Media, and BBC. Been distributed around the world, and I'm sure we can talk about that more later since the clock just hit 0.
Thank you very much. Very appreciated. Okay, Kim, tell us all.
I
think they're probably going to bring it up for you. Here we go.
There we go.
Oh.
Right. I use all my time trying to find my slides. Hi, I'm Kim Moses, and I wanted to personalize my experience for you. I am one of the few women in Hollywood who is a producer, a director, a writer at the intersection of television and digital media. And working at that intersection enables me to do good work, have significant social relevance, and a global reach, which is a fantastic way to work and gives a lot of freedom in today's world. So Sandra Moses, which is my television company, and Slam, which is my digital media company, work hand in hand. We've produced 8 television series, and we've done TV movies, reality shows, feature films, lots of web content, and audience outreach program. We've done it for our TV shows, we do it for other people's TV shows, and we also do it for movies. And the secret sauce for all of this is the weaving together of everything with our serialized storytelling expertise. There's nothing transient, there's no one-off stunts, and honestly, I believe that this is the missing link in the entertainment industry. They need master storytellers who have technological capabilities as the tool for immersive experiences. And bringing together this human narrative element and the multi-screen digital capabilities changes everything. So the question is, how do you transcend the traditional industry standards to achieve this? You do it by breaking rules purposefully. And the first time we did it was with Profiler, which was on NBC, and we gave the audience an opportunity to speak with the serial killer who was the villain of the series. And the website this was in its infancy of the web, and it was in 1996, and the website got so many hits that it crashed the site. When we got it back up, NBC called us and said that the website had gotten more hits than any of their other websites in regards to their shows. That was daytime, primetime, sports, all together, more than NBC's other platforms. And so they told us to take it down because they couldn't have the website of a serial killer be more successful than NBC. But we learned that there was magic at that intersection of digital media and television. And so what we did was we then, it resulted in this chart right here, our work, which is we discovered that entertainment companies must embrace 3 points of attention, which is the entertainment content, the technological device, and the social conversation. And so we continued doing a lot of work in that area, and then CBS picked up our TV show Ghost Whisper, and we had 3 problems. First of all, we were in the dead zone, which was the 8 o'clock slot on Friday night. And in America, that slot is death. You never make it to the second year. So the stats were that 82% of all the shows that had gone on that year, gone on for the 10 years previous to that, had failed, and only 18% of the shows had gone to a second season. Plus the fact that our star, Jennifer Love Hewitt, was too young to be on CBS at the time. The demos were much older. She was only 28 years old. And the third problem was that CBS was a procedural network. They had cops and lawyers. and a ghost show had no business being on that network. So we pioneered the total engagement experience, if I can pull that up, for Ghost Whisperer. And the total engagement experience is a business and creative model of which the TV show is a key component of a much broader multi-platform immersive entertainment experience. It establishes an infinity loop, as you can see, and it generates press buzz, creates revenue sources, and builds ratings. And every day for 5 years, we did at least one thing for the Ghost Whisperer fans, which created tremendous loyalty. The result was that rather than failing in the first year, Ghost Whisperer went on to 5 years of success on CBS, and then it went into syndication, which for us is the promised land, on 3 networks. And today it airs in 172 territories around the world, and they're now reformatting it in countries like Spain and Russia. So the lesson from that is to create content today, you can no longer just create a great show. You've got to go out there, you've got to find the right audience for it, engage, create an infinity loop, and drive that audience to the website of your show and across all those platforms. Now, does anybody know what otaku means? Otaku means obsessive behavior. And we use this chart to build an audience, which is, if you start at the bottom, this is the people at the bottom are hundreds of thousands of super fans who are the obsessive people who love your content. And that's what you need when you launch a show. The next level is the millions of people who respond and they stay connected to the media. They're the gamers and they love to collect toys and read, and we call those people the makers. They make the videos. And the top part is the hundreds of millions of people that you need to watch your show to keep it on the air. So we start at the bottom, we engage with these groups of people, create fan bases, and build to the next level and build to the next level. And we use the passion of these groups to get to that top level to amplify what they love. And so we did this with Ghost Whisperer, and the next show, because I'm running out of time, the next show that we're going to do it with is Reckless, which we just produced, so stay tuned because we're going to take it to the next level. And the advice that I would quickly leave you with is do the right work on purpose, break some rules along the way, and behave consistently with results that you want, and things do move in your direction. Thank you very much.
Without further ado, Adam.
Hi. So I'm a multi-platform commissioner at Channel 4 in London. That thing that you can see there is Channel 4 HQ. The thing in front of it is a product of a multi-platform project, but that's kind of another story, which I maybe can touch on a bit in the questions and answers. Basically, we're a public service broadcaster in a commercial framework, and our remit, our legal purpose, is to innovate. I'd like to talk to you about the Great British Property Scandal. It's an integrated multi-platform project that ran till November 2012. 3 1 hours of TV plus web plus mobile. And you can see there the equation that's at its core. It's addressing the issue of the housing crisis in the UK. We've got 1 million empty homes and 2 million people that need somewhere decent to live. There is the figurehead of our campaign, an architect called George Clark. And you can also see there the most simple level of interaction, which is to add your name to a petition to get behind the campaign. 100,000 people did that in the first week. Population 60 million in the UK. At the heart, the beating heart of this project is a mobile app which enables you to report empty homes in your community. Really simple, either by GPS or by entering your zip code, you can start to report a home. You then just stick a pin in a map, use a pull-down menu to give some basic information, add very little additional text. So it's a really pretty low barrier to entry, and then off goes this report directly to the person in the local authority who's responsible for empty homes and housing. So there's the app. It's free, very easy to use, very cheap to make. And I'd like to show you now, Kim just mentioned the magic intersection. I want to show through a short video what you can do when you hit the sweet spot where TV, where populist or popular TV meets interactive media. So if you could play the video, please.
Noticed it empty, I think 20 years plus ago, and having regularly looked at it and always thought this is really tragic, you know, someone ought to be living in it. And because it was privately owned, thought there was nothing I could do about it. I watched the Great British Property Scandal on TV. I reported it to the Channel 4 website because I thought that a little bit of extra weight wouldn't go amiss. And within 4 months it was occupied. Certainly it's had a result in this instance, and I hope that this has happened in very many other places all around the country.
We've lived next door to an empty home for over 5 years now. We saw the Great British Property Scandal, reported the empty, and since then the property has had a flurry of activity. The property's been done up, the rear yard's been cleared, it's had new windows, a new front door, new kitchen, new bathroom, and been decorated throughout. I think the campaign's been great, certainly for us. I don't think, being honest, that anything would have happened with this property if we hadn't have reported it. So to have someone actually living there and the property back into use is great.
I realised that I could do something about the empty property next door to mine. The property had been emptied for about 30 years. Through the programme, I found that I could contact the council. So 7 months after I reported the property to the website, it's now ready to be lived in.
I watched the programme, the Great British Property Scandal, and my awareness was raised of empty houses, and after that I noticed this house. It was obviously derelict and had been for quite some time. I'm very pleased that it's going to be brought back into use.
My name's Dean. I was homeless for a couple of years, spent some time sofa surfing, mainly on this estate with friends, families and such. While I was here, I noticed the 2 empty flats there. Both these flats have been empty for about 2 years. They're both council owned. As soon as I saw the programme, I was like, this is something I want to get involved in. Took some photos, put them online. About a week into the new year, they started work. You can make a difference by reporting an empty flat in your area at channel4.com/property scandal.
If I could just have my slide. Thanks. Cheers. Could I have my slides back up, please? Thanks. So you can see there, it's a really good illustration of the kind of thing that we do at Channel 4 in terms of multi-platform or transmedia. We're looking for projects that are fully integrated with real ambition and scale. And when I say fully integrated, I mean if you take the digital out of the TV, it should be a lesser beast and vice versa. So, look, this is the impact of just a bit of telly. Over 100,000 people signing up. Now, that has a significance in the UK because that's the number that you need to force a debate in Parliament. £17 million in low-cost loans so people can get empty homes back into use if they can't afford to do that on their own. And actually, that's an old stat. So actually, 9,500 empty homes reported with the sort of results that you just saw on the screen. This is the project that preceded it and in some ways inspired Great British Property Scandal. It's called Hugh's Fish Fight. And this one, in the same sort of way, hit that sweet spot, got 800,000 people behind the campaign within a few weeks, and within 6 weeks, it actually changed EU legislation. And any of you that live in Europe will know how difficult it is to get anything to happen in the EU. So in 6 weeks, it's almost a miracle. And I'm going to leave you with this image of how we see ourselves at Channel 4, which you might find interesting, because we don't look at ourselves as being in a landscape of broadcasters. We see ourselves as being in that kind of landscape alongside multi-channel TV, on-demand services, games and the like. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. So I think the first thing, I mean, obviously this is a conversation about the role and the importance of the audience, and I think I'll start with you, Scott, if that's okay. Your microphone is just in your hand, in fact. Fantastic. And very good. So I mean, it really is extraordinary to me that it was 2006 that you guys, that Vuguru sort of saw this opportunity. I mean, that was like way before. I mean, I sort of chart the digital revolution as to the posture the people you were pitching had. And when I was pitching transmedia in 2006, everyone was like this. And now when you pitch it, they're all like this. So that's good. But when you guys started, it was very much sort of lean back with your arms folded. So just talk to me about how you guys as a company view, because I think of the three of us, perhaps, of the three people on this panel, you guys possibly have a more traditional relationship with your audience as an audience. Do you think, would that be fair to say?
I think it depends on the shows and the type of people we work with. So yes, we create the content and tend to license it to third parties, whether that is a Fox International channel internationally or whether it's an AOL. However, I'll use two examples. One is Prom Queen was actually the very first show we did in 2006, and it was 81-minute episodes, and that was with a format that people wanted to engage with at the time. And what we found was it was on MySpace, and the audience reacted so positively to it, and the comments and everything there, that we actually provided more content that we had shot, and at the time no one was using. And so it was a learning experience in a very early period. I would say, though, we also have a joint venture with Stan Lee, the creator of Marvel Comics, for a YouTube channel, which we currently run, which is a very different experience, and I think that hits this, which is we actually we create content, we put it on the YouTube channel, we actively change what we do based on what people are saying. So for Vuguru, it's not about saying this is the one way it works, because to your point, that's not the way the world now works. It's figuring out who we work with and what that distribution partner is, if it's a television network that wants ancillary content, or whether it's a YouTube channel where it is all about interacting, responding, and adapting within a week to what you're actually doing.
Thank you. And Kim, when obviously you've created this. I love the idea of an infinity loop. That's fantastic. I feel like we might all be about to sort of jet into the future on that. But in terms of how you work with your audience, it seems to me, almost see them as creative partners to what you do. Would that be a fair way of defining the relationship?
That actually is a very fair definition of the relationship, because it serves us and it also serves the audience. And the reason it serves us is because we don't have to wait for testing, and the testing's not skewed. It's a very democratic voice on digital media and all those platforms, so we immediately know how the audience feels about everything. For the audience, the fact that Hollywood is listening to them is very, very valuable. I don't believe that Hollywood listens enough, and we don't say to ourselves or each other, what have I done for the fans lately? So being able to respond to the fans immediately in many ways, it's not always in the show, because it takes a long time to make a show and get it up there, but through other pieces of content and the show, when it makes sense.
And do you use that feedback to shape the material? Is it something that you're listening to the point where you're like, they really like this about the show, or this isn't working so well, or that character's not landing, and are you taking those notes back into the room?
We do take those notes back into the room, and the ones that make sense and that have a lot of power behind them by way of a lot of voices, we do. And for instance, at one point with Ghost Whisperer, the audience we were getting emails, many emails saying, we know what it's like to be a ghost whisperer, what's it like to be a ghost? So we went to CBS and said, we want to do a parallel web series called, the Ghost Whisperer, The Other Side, so that the audience can walk in the shoes of a ghost. And they introduced us to GM. GM sponsored it. It was wildly successful for the audience, won a lot of awards. And then GM crossed over from the web series to sponsor the entire television series for the next 4 years. So that's a great infinity loop example where everybody, gets satisfied by, speaking up and then listening.
Yeah. And Adam, I guess of all of the three, and I know that in some ways the property scandal slightly skews the vision of the massive breadth of what you guys do, but certainly in the case of the property scandal, the audience is not just, the audience is the force for change in that context, isn't it? Is that how you see that, the purpose or the potential of that intersection?
The main thing is, as a broadcaster, I think you have to think, from whatever position you're coming from, but for me as a broadcaster, you have to think, what am I bringing to the party? And one of the things that we can do as the broadcaster is enable people to have a reward for their interaction by impacting on the editorial of the TV show. So that's what I'm talking about, really, about you know, fully integrated multi-platform. So I've done shows where the editorial is influenced by the user's interactions, where the editorial is shaped by the user interactions. I've done a show called Embarrassing Bodies Live from the Clinic, where the editorial is fully handed over to the audience. So seeding editorial control is one thing you can give, and that's something that Twitter can't give, it's something that Facebook can't give, only the broadcaster can give. Likewise, last night you had Stephen Lambert talking on his keynote. We did a show where we enabled the audience, this is sort of 3 or 4 years ago, so it was quite early for this kind of thing, where we enabled the audience to have a direct relationship with the participants in a observational documentary, and they influenced the behaviour of those of the participants who were all had major sort of life-changing decisions to make. So in whatever way, I think it's really important that you look to see what value you can add, and if you're not adding value, then as a broadcaster, it's better to leave it alone. So. As a contrast, you know, our biggest factual hit of recent times has probably been Big Fat Gypsy Weddings, which is a huge show in the UK, but it doesn't really need anything else because it's just a great TV show, and then people want to talk about it, so they've got social media to talk about it, and that's all that's needed. So in that case, we do nothing. In this case, property scandal, there's a lot we can do and a lot of value we can add.
Well, I'm horrified to see that the clock is at 0, and I'm imagining some of it. I could talk about this for a day, really, but these guys are going to be around afterwards outside to have a conversation with you. I could have spoken about this for at least 2 hours. So if you guys would like to speak to these guys, who I know would be happy to chat about anything that's come up today or anything else that you might want to discuss with them. So if you want to put your name down outside rather than doing the normal front of the stage thing, that would be great. And all that remains for me to say is thank you to you and thank you to my panel. Thank you.